I would say I have a few expectations for the race. Well, to start with, I would say I actually don't know what to expect. For sure, I want to win the race if I can. I mean, that's definitely a goal of mine. But I was telling somebody that I think for the first time in my career, this is a race where my main objective isn't to go as fast as I possibly can, because I do want to experience the landscape and have time to look around and enjoy everything that I can see.
I mean, it's an opportunity to come back to part of the world that we love. I was here in 2018 with my husband racing, and I was support crew. And when I saw the course in 2018, I said, one day I have to come back and race. You know, 4 years later, here we are. It's good timing for me. I love racing at the end of the year. And it's just a fabulous place. It's incredible. The course is one of the best.
To be honest, we looked at this race many years ago, 2018, and then again in 2019 we were in communication with Ignacio and we wanted to come, but yeah, it's been on our radar for a long time. This area is incredibly special. I think it's one of the last unspoiled ecosystems on planet Earth, and to do what I do for a living, what I do for a profession in a place this beautiful was something I always wanted to do and experience. So yeah, finally this year we had the opportunity to come down and we had to make it happen.
The place is synonymous with a real challenging landscape and beautiful landscape. So you put Patagonia and triathlon together and people are instantly intrigued. So yeah, I think there's quite a lot of awareness now of the race internationally, and it has a reputation for being one of the most incredible and challenging races.
From the very beginning, when Patagonman did the first edition of the race, I was really intrigued and interested to come.
Desde que lo vi en Instagram, conocí la prueba a través de redes sociales, me gustó desde el minuto 1 en que vi el vídeo de presentación del evento y supe que quería estar en el Patagonman. Supe que era una de esas pruebas únicas, especiales y yo como triatleta pues que debería hacer al menos una vez en mi vida y por eso estoy aquí.
I know it's an extreme triathlon in the middle of nowhere, at the end of the world. So my expectation is to enjoy the race, experience something that not many people can experience in this world.
I like races which are very hard, really difficult conditions, the tougher the better. And Patagonman is going directly into this category.
I was surprised, actually, at how nervous I was, actually. I think you have a lot of plans, a lot of ideas about what something is, and then they're not real until you're actually in the moment. And yeah, I was actually quite nervous, especially because the conditions were very difficult. There was a lot of wind, a lot of waves. To be honest, I was very unsure that, that I was going to be able to do the race.
Because of the darkness. Let's see what's happening.
Vamos a comenzar la fiesta.
Con muchas ganas de que esto empiece. A ver qué pasa. Con el frío, con el viento, pero muy contento, muy contento.
Fuck man, this has been 9 months of training. Today's gonna happen.
Now that we're here, it's just kind of surreal and feels like just doesn't feel real. Everything's so gorgeous and be racing for my dad tomorrow. He died from brain cancer, so be racing for him today.
Excelente.
Team Taiwan!
Ansiedad, nervios.
Capitán ya tiene las coordenadas. Horario de Salpe 4:30.
Ya. La ICEN también ya está lista, está fondeada, así que
buenísimo.
Vamos a esperar nomás la hora de largar.
Muchas gracias y que la suerte nos acompañe.
Ya, Ignacio. Oye, te estás comunicando, con el capuerto directo.
Perfecto.
Así que él me llama de vuelta.
The special thing about the swim, I think, is the ferry. It's such a raw environment. Everybody is cold, in their kit, ready to go, and the sort of anxiety and nervousness that's in the group of athletes waiting. Yeah, it's something quite unique.
It was a special experience because I was sharing it with so many people. In the end, I was excited to get in the water, but yeah, for sure, more nervous than I imagined.
The water was really choppy and really dark, so I was kind of nervous, and I was thinking that people were gonna have a lot of trouble in the water because it was really cold, really windy. But I mean, seeing everybody else out there, it was more exciting than anything.
Everybody was really nervous and there was a lot of energy inside that boat. We were all on an iron cast floor with our wetsuit. We were all freezing collectively and we're actually looking forward to get into the water and get warmer with the swimming.
Guys, I don't have good news for you. No tengo muy buenas noticias. The conditions are very rough. Las condiciones están muy malas. We have more than 40 knots out there. Más de 40 nudos.
And head for the...
Just look for the cop cars, basically, right?
Yeah, just try to find the board.
For the...
Just try to find the lights of the board. Don't get confused with the lights of the salmon farming.
No, the police car.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Because they're not at the where the exact exit is. There's like... we kind of got on in the middle. They put the ramp onto the wall.
So do the swim, get out of the water, get on the bike, have a good bike, then get on the run.
Just being in the water like that, cold, tucked into the mountains, that was a really cool experience. And I think one of the most unique things about the race is getting on a barge with everybody in the freezing cold in the morning. It's like the start line nerves, but you're in an extreme environment. So everybody's figuring out how to cope with that.
La T1, la verdad que me quitó el sueño. Estuve toda la noche dándole vueltas a la cabeza, porque claro, esta prueba es muy diferente a todas las demás. Y yo sabía que al llegar a la transición tenía que cambiarme, tenía que ponerme ropa larga, calcetines, coger todo lo necesario para afrontar el frío.
I took a long time in T1. I put on so many clothes because from experience I know that getting cold on the bike is not an option for me.
Y los primeros kilómetros del ciclismo pues ya fue como una relajación, ¿no? Ya fue, bueno, ya estamos en bici, vamos a estar 5 o 6 horas pedaleando y disfrutando.
I got on my bike and I was away, boom.
It's impossible to describe the bike. It's a little bit of everything. I mean, the beginning we had crazy wind and rain, and you know, at the end, more wind and finally some sun, which was really nice. But it was just, yeah, really challenging actually.
So I started the biking first, which was fun and exciting. Just getting to go behind the lead car, kind of stick your head out in the rain and the wind for that first part. So I knew it was going to get really tough later on, but Riding with Ben was really helpful. It was fun to just suffer with somebody else. But yeah, there were some really tough gravel sections and lots of wind. It was a really tough ride.
So the first couple of hours on the bike the weather was bad in terms of it was raining, it was still very cold, and there was this insane wind which we had all day.
Yeah, the bike started in a very cold rain, so it took us a while to probably get warmer, especially with flattish part in the beginning, but when we hit the first hills, the rain stopped, so finally we were feeling a lot warmer. I was personally scared most of the potholes and gravel parts, but then I had puncture about halfway through the bike. I changed the flat pretty quickly, and then roughly kilometer 150 I got another puncture. But that happens. It didn't break me, I kept going.
The hill, the first climb that you go up to Coyhaique, I caught Maggie, who was the first lady at that point, quite quickly. So I said to myself, okay, she's good on the flat, but on the hills I'm going to be stronger, so I need to work on the hills. And then I just felt great.
Definitely the most scenic bike course that I've ever done in my life in any race. The views here are unlike anything else.
Y la parte final del ciclismo pues fue horrible. Los paisajes eran brutales y era el único consuelo que me quedaba, mirar alrededor, pero el viento era muy fuerte. Había mucho viento y yo que soy ligerita con la cabra, me costó. Tengo la suerte de que entreno en un sitio con mucho viento y entonces eso me ayudó, pero sí que el viento estuvo muy fuerte y mucho frío, aunque hacía sol en la parte final sí que hacía frío.
Especially competing against Kevin, I didn't expect to have a lot of competition, but he made me work really hard.
At first I didn't know how far Ben was behind me, and then he came up behind me pretty quick. And so I was happy just to sit behind him for a little bit. He's done a lot more Ironman distance type races than I have. So I was happy just to follow his lead and kind of tail what he did. And I was still trying to race my own race. I knew that if I pushed too hard that I would blow up. So if Ben had started to try to break me on the bike, I probably would have let him go. But on the first climb, I put in a little bit of effort and then got a little bit of a gap on him in the middle, which might have been good, might have been bad, because I got excited and was happy to be out front. So I worked pretty hard at the front, and then he ended up catching me near the end. But I was just telling myself the whole time, don't look behind you. It doesn't matter where Ben is, just keep racing your own race. And so I had a lot of fun. That bike would have been a lot more brutal if I had just been doing it by myself. So it was nice to be racing somebody the whole time.
The run course was absolutely spectacular. Definitely more challenging than any run that I've ever done in any race. Crazy, steep uphills with loose terrain, really powerful winds, and just the views too, with the waterfalls, the river. Yeah, it was incredible to be out there and to feel like I was mostly alone in this incredible environment. It was great perspective. So it took everything I had to get to the finish line, and I would say if I ever did this race again, I would train differently because it was more challenging than I could have imagined.
lo que más ganas tenía era subirme al ferry y luego lo segundo era correr la maratón. Sabía que era muy duro, pero que era un trail súper bonito y estaba deseando empezar.
And I loved the course. It was something amazing. The first parts when we were going uphill trails, I really felt great and immediately started to move through the field.
The trail at the beginning is so remote and steep, and you're kind of on your own in the middle of nowhere. And you have to climb a big hill and then cross a river, and it's sandy, and just so grateful to be there, to be doing this incredible race, to feel good, to have strong legs, to be able to run up nearly all of the hills on the run, which some of them are very long and steep.
Que había momentos que me metía mucho en la competición y quería correr rápido y decir, bueno, a ver si esta cuesta soy capaz de hacerla toda corriendo. Pero llegó un punto que dije, iba totalmente sola y dije, esto es una experiencia única y tengo que disfrutarla, ¿no? Olvidarme un poco de sufrir y de darlo todo al máximo y parar un momento, mirar alrededor. De hecho, lo hice en el kilómetro 17 y eso se va a quedar para mí para siempre. Iba subiendo una cuesta y dije, estoy bastante alto, voy a darme la vuelta a ver qué hay detrás. Y me giré y vi todas las montañas nevadas, el lago abajo y yo sola allí y aluciné. O sea, fue una conexión con la naturaleza, conmigo misma, que nunca había sentido y eso ya se me va a quedar ahí para siempre. Los últimos 10 se me hicieron muy duros porque ya ves que estás llegando, quieres llegar porque ya vas cansado, pero al mismo tiempo tampoco quieres llegar porque no quieres que se acabe.
It took everything I had to get to the finish line. There's no other race like this. I've done many Ironmans in my life, but I'm not sure that I've ever been this empty at the end. So yeah, it's a very special feeling when you use everything to get to the line.
Tried my best to push as hard as I could and keep pushing to the finish line because I had to dig so deep to get that performance. And I was so delighted, and the emotion on the finish line was something else. The Chilean people were out in force, just fantastic, and it's an incredible finish. It's so stunning.
Oh, it was unlike any other race I've ever done. It was so sick. There were plenty of times when I thought when I was dying, and plenty of times when I thought that I already died, and I'm glad to be alive and finish. Thank you to all the organizers, and thank you to the towns. Thank you to everybody that came out and watched. That was so much fun.
It's just emotional, just unbelievable. The people, the race, the best experience of my life. It's fucking unreal.
And couldn't wait for my son to be waiting for me at the meeting point, 12 kilometers to go. And those last 12Ks running together with him was definitely the best part of the race.
Probably one of the hardest races I've ever done.
Brutal! One word, brutal!
I was all fine all the way. I was just trying to keep the emotion low, and when I just saw all the people and the bell broke down. I was waiting for this so long.
Hay muchas emociones también.
It was honestly brutal. I've never experienced anything like that.
absolutely believe that this race is, something like what I started triathlon doing. It's extremely special. When I started triathlon, I was a university student in Montana, and our training was based on being outside and going to races that were grassroots, that were adventure-oriented. And I think after years of racing professionally, where most of the races are basically the same, it was really refreshing to get back to a race that is very raw and real, and that is not made easy, for every athlete to do. You have to be well prepared, you have to have everything ready to do this race, and you have to train to be ready. So this was really fun to be back here and to experience something like where I started in triathlon.
Patagonman in particular is an adventure, and I don't think any athlete was on the start line for that race thinking, I'm gonna sail through this, because it just creates an anxiety of not knowing what to expect. There's so many challenges in the day and so many unknowns before you get going that it's humbling and special, and it absolutely represents for me the things that keep me in the sport, that keep me coming back. How hard can I go? Where are my limits? What are the challenges that I'm going to face today? How am I going to deal with them and get through them in the strongest way? And I think I saw that on the face of every athlete in the race. And that is really special.
I think at its core, just having the spirit of testing yourself against what nature has to offer, I think that's one of the big things that drew me to triathlon. And I think that's what drew a lot of the people that come out to this race to Patagonman. You're not on a manicured course, you're not just going for put your head down speed. You have to go into this race knowing that there's going to be lots of unknowns, and you have to be confident in your ability to overcome that.
I know that it takes a lot to make a race like this happen in this part of the world, and there's an incredible team. Ignacio and everybody that he has are special people, and it's definitely one of the best organized races that I've ever experienced.
The organisation do an amazing job with this race. They're a small team of really passionate triathletes who want the athletes to have the best possible experience on the day, and they go out of their way to tick all of the boxes they possibly can. And then they have backup plans for everything. Plan A, plan B, plan C. They literally think of everything, and they go out of their way to make you feel welcome and comfortable and create an atmosphere amongst the athletes that's really welcoming and friendly, and they're just brilliant.
Organizing such a race in these conditions and this area is a very difficult task. I can't imagine doing it myself, to tell the truth.
Bueno, los organizadores estaban disponibles 24 horas para todo el mundo, no solo para los corredores, sino que también para los supporters. Claro, organizar un evento como este, que salimos desde un sitio y que acabamos a 200 y pico kilómetros de distancia, es súper complicado, ¿no? Me pareció brutal. Toda la logística del ferry, impresionante, y luego la cercanía con los deportistas y los supporters, ¿no? Que nos han prestado toda su ayuda, han hecho todo lo posible para que todo estuviese bien.
My message for the athletes coming to this race in the future is, so I would say come in with an open mind, a spirit of adventure, and just be ready and willing to suffer.
Be prepared for anything and everything, but mostly come here and enjoy the experience. It's extremely special to be here. The landscape is incredible. The people in these communities are extremely welcoming and very friendly. Yeah, it's just something that is indescribable, honestly. The energy that the team puts into the race, the organization is absolutely world class, and it's going to be something that you remember for the rest of your life. So come here and be respectful, respect the race because it is extremely difficult, but make sure that you take time to enjoy because it's something very special that you will never ever have again.
You have to prepare mentally. If you train hard, you can come here and actually enjoy the scenery and enjoy the experience. It's worthwhile. It's worth it to come and do this race.
Getting to the finish line here took everything I had, and to finally get to the bell and to ring it, yeah, it's a feeling that was totally indescribable. And I would just say to anyone who is thinking about coming here, do whatever you can to make it happen because you'll have an experience that you'll never forget, and this race will challenge you in a way that will change you.